Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualized, My Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content in some way as we go along, if you find it useful, helpful, or insightful. I really appreciate the thumbs up. It's amazing. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, Love, Life and Sex, A Celebration of Asexual Diversity. It's got 47 asexual stories in it, and these are real life stories. I interviewed 46 asexuals across the globe for it, and I tell my own personal story as well. So if you haven't already got a copy of that, grab a copy. Down below are the links. I'm also the founder of Asexualized.com and the founder of Asexualized Academy, which is the world's first online training centre and school for asexuals and asexuality. So let's crack on with tonight's topic. So what is the difference between a friendship and a relationship if you are asexual? This seems to be quite a big deal recently. So I was in my groups and people were leaving comments on one of the new threads I got, which is, what you're struggling with, what do you want support with? And something that came up, which was interesting, was about friendships and relationships. I'm not going to go into specific detail because obviously what's said in my group is private. But what I will say is I hope this video helps some people in my groups. So basically, first of all and foremost, right, a good, healthy, happy, loving relationship can only usually be born out of a very good foundation of friendship. You shouldn't really go into a relationship without that person being your friend first. Having said that, if you do end up going to a relationship quickly, you'll probably find yourself becoming more and more best friends with them really, really quickly. Because if this person is not your best friend and you're not really close to them in a friendship way, it won't likely last. It really won't. So first of all, you've kind of got to stop separating friendship and relationship as two completely different entities and start entertaining the idea that until you've got a really good, strong friendship and bond with someone, you shouldn't really be entering a relationship. Obviously, me being the hyper-romantic, asexual, romantic person I am, yes, I do get into relationships quickly. And quickly, they seem to become my best friend. But then I usually find out about stuff that I don't like about them. And I usually find out they're not as nice as they make out. And then I end up in trouble. So learn from my experience. It's not a very good idea to do that, right? It's a much better idea to develop a friendship first, right? And you should only ever be in relationship with someone you want to be in a relationship with, someone you want to spend time with, hang around with, grow, talk, discuss, communicate with them. If you end up with a person who you don't really want to be around, you shouldn't be in a relationship with them. Why would you do that? Unless it's for your own reasons, right? So a relationship, at any good, strong, healthy, happy, loving relationship always starts with friendship first. You have to understand that it always starts with friendship first, no matter whether you're asexual, asexual, or asexual. That's how it should start, right? The problem with a sexual relationship is most sexual relationships, a lot of them, a large proportion of them, which is why they tend to not work, is they're based largely on strong sexual attraction, which is a physical chemical thing, right? Sexual attraction is an energy, but it's also the release of a lot of chemicals, hormones, right? They have hormones flying around for the other person. That person has hormones flying around for them. And it's in like a firework explosion. This feels so good. I want to be with this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. It's amazing. Now, can asexuals get that feeling too, despite not actually experiencing sexual attraction? Yes, some asexuals can experience very emotional, intense, chemical attraction, but without it being a sexual nature, right? I have felt strong, romantic chemistry with someone, right? That's been really, really strong. I felt it with an asexual person. I felt it with a sexual well, the last guy I was with, I don't know if he's asexual or sexual. I pretty much think he's sexual, right? You know, he didn't have sex with me, but to all intents and purposes, he was heterosexual, right? He was there with loads of women that he was interested in the beginning. It was all over like porn and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously some asexuals do look at porn, but from what I know, he's probably likely a heterosexual guy, right? So I was very, very physically attracted to him, but in a non-sexual way. Like, I was attracted to his looks and hair and the way he was actually with me. It wasn't all about looks. It was about, I don't know, that he was really nice to me in the beginning. I'm not going to go into tons and tons of details about what happened, but you know, if he stayed as a person I thought he was in the beginning, it would have been better. But anyway, he wasn't completely honest in the beginning. So that's my point. You must have a deep friendship before you get into a relationship with someone. Learn from my experience, right? That experience, right? If you're friends with someone first, if you really understand them, what deep foundation, fundamental level, you're more likely to be able to have a long, loving, happy, healthy relationship. So do not, please, you know, categorize the two as completely separate. With sexuals, they experience a sexual attraction, they get into this lustful state, it's all hormonal, and they just get together. And they don't really know much about each other. They might not have much in common. They might not be able to communicate properly with each other. They won't understand each other on that fundamental level because they haven't become friends first, right? Imagine you get into a relationship. I've done this in the past. I hold my hand up. And I've probably done this in the recent past as well. I got into a relationship with someone I didn't really understand or know. And so what happens is you don't know their lifestyle. You don't know who else is their friends. You don't know who they socialize with. You don't know their bad habits. You don't know how their brain works. You don't know how to communicate on the way that they like it, like prefer it all the time. You don't know how best to be with that person, right? Because you've just met them. You know, there's loads of things you don't know about them, right? So if you get into a relationship in that instance, which I hold my hand up, like I say, I'm a hyper romantic. I do get into these situations. They're not great for me. I hold my hand up. And yes, you would have thought I'd learned my lesson by now. And I calm down for a while. And I'm sensible for a while. And then all of a sudden, my hyper romanticism gets a bit much. And I put myself in a position again. But yeah, so I hold my hand up. I'm not perfect. It's kind of a weakness, but at least I learned stuff by it, right? And so, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is you don't know a person until you're in a situation. If you end up in a relationship with someone very quickly, you kind of like in a situation where you've got to put up with the things that come your way, whether good or bad, or you have to leave them, right? Because you're already in the situation with them. You either have to end the relationship if you find out stuff you don't like, compromise, which could actually mean compromising yourself and your boundaries, which you don't want to do, or, you know, you end up in a situation that's unhealthy for you, a bad situation with a bad person, or with a situation that's just not compatible for you two. And, you know, that's the danger of getting into a relationship very quickly. It pushes your boundaries, it pushes your fears getting in quickly. It, you know, occasionally people can just have the most amazing relationship quickly. I have to say, in my defense and in a few other people's defense in the world that do get into relationships quickly, few of them do work out. My mum's dad, he met my mum's mum, and within 3 months, I think they got married. So that is a very, very unusual case, right? My mum's parents are no longer alive, sadly, but he got, from what my mum said, they met and they got married, I think, within 3 months. I mean, that's just crazy, right? Not many people do that and have a successful marriage. My mum's mum died young, so that's the only reason why they weren't together, is because he was widowed. You know, so yeah, so, you know, I'm not saying it cannot work, because I guess because I've got evidence in my own family that it works, and that's why I may be the hopeless romantic that goes and tries these things, because I have evidence in my own life of it actually working. You see, I have evidence of soulmates as well. My parents are soulmates, I know that. So, you know, where other people say, oh, it doesn't work like that, it's not true, it can't happen, I know sometimes it can, right? Because I see it for myself through my own family. So I have to say that, you know, not every time you take a chance and a risk on something quickly does it completely always turn out bad, right? It doesn't. And I'd be lying if if I said it did, because I have evidence within my own family that proves otherwise. Having said that, the majority of successful relationships, especially in this day and age when it's swipe culture and you can literally swipe through, I don't know, 20 people in probably in 10 minutes or more or less, then you got so many people to choose from, right? So the main point is an asexual friendship or relationship. I'll be going into more of the differences, but I have to say, whether it's a relationship with a sexual or relationship with an asexual person, the most bestest thing you can do is establish a good basis of friendship first, right? You should never be with a person who you don't actually want to spend time with and hang around with lots, and you don't voluntarily want them in your life. If you're with a person where you're forcing yourself to see them, or forcing yourself to communicate with them, or forcing yourself to do things with them, that's not a relationship you should be in, right? That's not healthy. That's not right. And why the heck are you in one? Is it because you're just satisfying your own ego to make yourself feel better? If you've got problems, then you need to sort yourself out, work on your self-development, personal development, right? And sort yourself out. You should never go into a relationship from a lack point of view, or from a need point of view of because you don't self-love, right? Because you've got problems within yourself. You should try and sort as many of those problems out as possible. Of course, you're going to have weaknesses, you're going to have faults and flaws, but the person, if you're kind and good-hearted and you don't intentionally mean to harm the other person, then you've got their best interests at heart and you want to make the relationship work, then it should be a good relationship, right? And if it's not, then you would have to end it. But if you've got a strong foundation of friendship first, and you've known this person for months or maybe a year, then you've got a much better chance of it thriving and not just surviving, but thriving, right? Because you don't want to lose that friendship, because that person means so much to you, right? That person means so much to you in the first place, And you should always try to and strive to be in a relationship with one of your best friends. I know that sounds kind of weird, because if you're like best friends with a person and you really like them more than a friend, and you don't really want to tell them because you might lose the friendship, if they're your real true friend, then you won't lose it, right? And if you get into if they don't want you, if they reject you, right? Okay, it's their loss. Okay, however good friends you are with them, it is their loss if they cannot see what a good, kind person you are, and they could live life without you, right? And be with someone else, or not have you because they don't think you're right for them. That's fair enough. That's their choice, but you have to still move on. You can still be friends with them. You have to move on, and they're going to lose out if they think they're going to in the future have all that time with you. If another person comes into your life, they're not. Right? So you're still going to be friends with them, but you're going to devote your time, some proportion of your time, to the love of your life that comes into your life. That friend that will want to be there for you more. That friend will step up to the plate to become your love of your life in a relationship, right? Not all your friends that you've got, you're going to be in a relationship, right? Some aren't suitable to be in a relationship with. Some, like my friends, are homo-romantic, right? They don't want to be with a girl. So, and we all have different needs, likes, wants, dislikes, right? But once that person, it's better to speak to that person and find out whether they like you more than a friend, and find out if you can have a relationship, than never know at all and always be thinking what if. You might still think what if, even if you discuss it, right? But they, if they choose to let you go in a relationship way, that's their choice. It's their loss. They might think in future years it's great they made that decision, or they might regret it in future years, right? And however much you think they might regret it in future years, if you get on so well, that's up to them. It's their prerogative, right? They had that choice. That you can't always put yourself as a choice for them. You can't do that. You have to make yourself available to other people. So if a friend does say no to you, you move on in the relationship sense, right? You look for other people, and it's hard because then you have to start making friendships all over again if none of the friends you've got are currently suitable for a relationship. So you always have to be trying to make your circle bigger of friends, of potential people, people that you're just going to want to be friends with, but to develop closer friendships and decide maybe in the future which one of those you'd like to be more than a friendship. But you have to understand you can be rejected. I've been rejected. So just because I do a YouTube show, just because someone likes me as a best friend or whatever, doesn't mean to say I can't be rejected. And that's okay. It comes with dating, it comes with relationships, it comes with life. you know, and you just have to suck it up and you have to move on in the relationship sense, because you have to find someone that's worthy, that can step up to the plate, right? If you've got high standards and you're a high value person, that isn't a bad thing, because a guy who comes along has to have high standards himself and be a high value person to have you that's got high standards and high value. It's a reflection on him. If he goes for low, or she, it could be anyone, I'm talking about guys because I'm into guys, right? But if he decides to go for a lower value, lower quality person than you, what does that say about him? It says that he's lower quality, he's lower value, he has lower standards. That's what it says. It doesn't say anything about you. It's a reflection on them. So take the rejection on the chin, think, that's okay. I let them go in a relationship sense. I'm not going to be there forever in that relationship sense, you know. Well, I'll have him as a friend, but my time will be devoted to someone else later on, right? If that person, you know, can live without you, being in a relationship with you, you don't mean enough to them so they don't lose you in the relationship sense, and they're happy to just always be there in the background as a friend, that's fine. But if they decide they want more later and you're in a relationship, that's their tough lines, right? You're in a relationship then. You've given them that opportunity, and I think that's what's so important, you know. If I had any really, really close guy friends and they really like me more than a friend, I would want them to tell me, you know, in case I like them more than friends. I'm talking about really asexual friends, right? Because it's so important to present opportunities and to live life to the max. You know, it's better, well, personally for me, because I do have anxiety as well, it's better for me if I just tell the person the end, right? It's very brave to do. I have to tell you, it's hard. It's not easy. And often there can be people that are attracted to you that you don't even know about. Maybe some of your friends that you don't even know about are attracted to you and you don't even realize, right? But you have to be really close friends with that person. It has to be a person that wants to talk to you loads, that wants to spend loads of time with you, that wants to be in your life. And it's very hard to get those type of people. You can get them, but it becomes more difficult going to that stage of friendship. I think it's more, you know, because you can have acquaintances, you can have friends, and then you can have friends that you're more close to, that you talk more intimately with, right? It's one of those friends that's most likely to be the best for you, because you can't be with someone who's at another stage of friendship with you unless it develops into something more. Because unless you can share your secrets, thoughts, be open and honest and communicate backwards and forwards with each other properly and succinctly and without fear, you can't be with another person or other people that are less than that, because you can't accept a lesser standard. Do you see what I mean? The good thing about having good quality friends who you are close to is that's at least the standard you want to set for yourself in a relationship. Yeah, you don't want to go any less than that, because you can't go back to having less than you had before, right? So if, for example, I've got a guy on an asexual dating site, he's maybe messaging me once in a blue moon, right? Yeah, one of my best friends is in regular contact with me, right? Obviously I'm going to think that the best friend who's in regular contact with me would be more suitable to be in a relationship with. But then obviously if they don't like me as more than a friend, or I don't like them as more than a friend, that's not going to be right. But I know that's my standard. I know that my friend who contacts me regularly, that's a standard I expect from a guy who's saying he likes me more than a friend, who's on a dating site. Do you know what I mean? That's the least minimum requirement I have. And that's how you have higher standards, right? And so the difference between a friendship and relationship, first of all, a relationship is based on friendship, right? Like I've just said, friendship, right? I mean, I was like shocked about the fact that someone was, you know, saying, you know, I'd want to be around a person as a friend that I want to spend a lot of time with, not I feel I have to. And that's what friendship should be like. If you feel like you have to strain yourself to be with someone, don't be with them as a friend, and don't bother with them as a relationship. Like a relationship should be someone you just love talking to. Like they make you enthusiastic when you speak to them, like you adore their conversation. Like if you need to put yourself in the position, like if this person walked out your life now and you never heard from them again, how the hell would you feel, right? Like if it's a person you love deeply and you want a relationship with them, if they walked out and left your life now, and all right, you'd be okay because you're a self-contained unit, you've got self-love, happiness, self-esteem, and all the rest of it. But if this person walked out of your life and they end up in a relationship with someone else, is that what you really want? Or do you love your friends so much that you need to tell them? But and then if they reject you, they reject you. But at least you've got to cross that bridge. Do you see what I mean? And you're a person you're in a relationship with, should be someone who you highly value and you want to stay in your life forever with you, right? If you've got a friend and you're really best friends or close friends, but you know, you don't necessarily want to spend the rest of your life with them, then obviously they're not the right person for you to be in a relationship with. Because, you know, I mean, I personally don't take a short-term view of relationships. Obviously, there are some asexuals that probably do casual dating or into casual relationships. But when I'm talking about friendship and relationship here, I'm talking about deep, meaningful relationships, right? You know, and unless you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, then you shouldn't be with them. You know, you can still be friends with them, but don't be with someone in a relationship you don't want to spend the rest of your life with. Similarly, don't settle for anything less for a person that you can't see yourself you can't see yourself being with long term, because there's just no one else around. Do you know what I mean? I think with asexuality, you can get especially if you're looking to just be with another asexual, not considering sexual people. I think you can get a scarcity mindset that, you know, there's not going to be anyone else out there for you, right? But that's not actually true. I mean, there are thousands of asexuals around the globe. And now, personally, I've opened myself up to possibly being with a British guy, right? Which I hadn't done before. I was just closed-minded. And it wasn't just closed-minded. I just didn't get attracted to British guys. It's still hard for me to get attracted to British guys. But because I had that experience, even though I rushed into a relationship in April, even though it was painful when it ended, and it wasn't very long, I at least learned a lesson from it. And that was that I could be with some British guy. Like, not, I don't think I'll be attracted to loads of British guys, but I could be attracted to a British guy again, and I could have a possible relationship with one, which has opened a lot of doors for me, right? Because I can now see if I like any British guys. I can pay more attention to them where I wasn't before, right? And I know myself from my past experience that sometimes if I'm not aesthetic attracted to a guy, in some instances, not all, very much not all, not if they've got facial hair usually, but in some instances I can become attracted to a guy I was never aesthetically attracted to in the first place, because if I get more emotionally attracted to him and more emotionally bonded with him, then it automatically, usually for me, starts me liking them a bit more aesthetically. And the more I spend time with them, the more romantic I feel towards them, the more I can end up being aesthetically attracted. And then when I start being physically kissing with them, then it's pretty much a given that I'm going to be aesthetically attracted to them, right? Otherwise I can't kiss them in the first place. So, you know, all these things take time, but, you know, you have to pick someone to be in a relationship with, you want to spend the rest of your life, whether you can't do, you know, you feel like you wouldn't not you can't do without them, but you wouldn't want to be without them, because you have to think that if you know that this, you have to understand that, you know, I've had best friends in the past and they're not then, you know, they've got their own lives, they decide to choose to go their own way, they're not friends with me anymore, their choice, right? But that happens in life, stuff happens, right? And so you have to realize that if you are giving up a potential relationship with someone who you'd like to be in a relationship with, you have to understand that once you've made that decision, right? I mean, you can change your mind, but you know, you have to understand that person's then able to go on and be with someone else. So, I mean, at the moment, like talking about British guys, there's a British guy I've just started talking to on asexualitic, right? Some, you know, so I am noticing a bit more British guys now, which is nice. He's in the UK as well. He's British, and in the UK, most British guys are going to be, aren't they? But you never know. So you know, so yeah, that's nice. And I know there's a British guy that fancies me in Poundland. My God, I've talked about this before, but I think he's highly sexual, likely. You know, so you know, just because I am asexual, just because you're asexual, doesn't mean to say you can't find someone for a relationship. I would lean more towards trying to find an asexual relationship more than someone sexual to be in a relationship with, because a sexual person, the majority of them are going to need sex at some point, and unless you're willing to do that, it's better to try and focus on asexuals. Having said that, if you're really, really deep bestest friends with a sexual person, you could then talk if you want to, if you feel more than friendship for them and you think they probably do with you, you can then talk. And again, like I said, have an informed discussion and chat about the potential of relationship. That's what's kind of scary, discussing a potential relationship before you get in one, but it's the best thing you can do because you can iron out as many problems. However, you could become so worried about different little things that you don't actually give it a go, and you always like, what if, because you're too scared to do anything. That's the other thing. You don't want to live in fear and not try something just because your fears are holding you back, because no relationship's ever going to be perfect. If you're looking for something perfect and thinking, oh, well, I can't be with them because everything's not perfect, you know, you're never going to get that perfect person relationship. The thing that happens when you do go ahead head first in a relationship, so say I do, right? I'm right in the thick of it. I have to deal with being in a relationship like that, and it does make you stronger. So although I don't advocate rushing to a relationship, I think it should be based on best ever friendship. Like I said, there are some advantages to getting in a relationship quickly. Is it can make you very quickly aware of what a relationship is like. It can make you very quickly aware of how to deal with different situations that crop up very quickly. And it can make you a lot tougher and more resilient and stronger. And you can give you some experiences that you wouldn't have as a single person. So though I don't advocate it's healthy and right, you know, to get into lots of relationships quickly, because I don't think it's good. There are good things about it, you know, and I hold my hand up to say that those higher based on what you say that. Right. So I don't understand your question. I'm in the middle of a live stream. Sorry, I don't understand your question. So I'm saying on my experiences, I'm talking about my experiences and my knowledge. So does that answer your question? So anyway, so carrying on from what I was saying. So yeah, so like I said, you know, there are some benefits of getting into a relationship quickly, but like I said at the beginning of this video, it's much better to have a strong foundation of friendship, and for the person you get into a relationship with to be your bestest friend in the first place, or a close friend, because then you can have a much more healthy, strong relationship and you know what you're getting yourself into. So in terms of the difference between asexual friendship and relationship, obviously asexuals as a general rule don't have sex because we lack sexual attraction. So, but that doesn't mean to say that some of us aren't romantic. So if people like me I'm a heteromantic. So for example, the difference between a friendship and relationship, first of all, a relationship has got that should have that fundamental foundation of friendship there in the first place for it to be very healthy, happy and sustainable and long lasting. But on top of that foundation, which is like the base layer of a cake, if you like, you should then be obviously you should have known by then if you've got things in common, hobbies, interests and everything. And so when you get into a relationship, you'll be doing slightly different things, right? You'll be paying you know, you'll be spending more time together usually than you would a friendship. Obviously this is not necessarily the case for everyone, but as a general rule, you'd be tending to spend more time with them because you'd be in a relationship with them. You'd be talking to them probably differently, saying things like I love you. I'm not saying you don't say this with your friends as well, because some people do, but you'd be doing more romantic things as well. Like so for example, if you're an asexual romantic person, whether you're a panromantic, homoromantic, biromantic, heteromantic, if you're a romantic asexual, you would be doing like maybe kissing, cuddling, holding hands. So you'd be more physical with each other than you would normally be with just a friend. You know, you'd be more physically close to them. You'd be more body contact with them. You'd be more touching them, you know? So that would be a really, really big difference usually between a friendship and a relationship. Obviously, your feelings would be a huge difference, how you feel between each other. Right? Feelings count for loads of the difference between a friendship and relationship, right? If I'm just having friend feelings and, you know, I don't want it to be too physically close to me, I'm more, you know, boundaries in place. You know, like I might hug my friend to say hello and goodbye, but, you know, I'm not going to get intimate. I'm not going to want to sit on my lap and start cuddling them, for example. I'm not going to want to start holding their hand. I'm not going to want to start kissing them, right? So once you get into an asexual person, even though we're not having sex, we can still be doing other physical things like holding hands, kissing, touching, cuddling, that we wouldn't do with just a friend. That certainly is the case with me. You know, I don't do that stuff with my friend. I'll hug a friend to say hello and goodbye, but that'll be the only thing I do, right? I won't cuddle them and I'm not kissing them, right? And so the relationship takes the physical aspects to a deeper level. And it also takes more emotional aspects to a deeper level. And it takes you fitting each other into each other's lives more as well. My sexual orientation is asexual, which is the lack of sexual attraction. So this is a channel for asexuals, where asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction. So I am a heteromantic asexual. So I'm attracted to guys romantically, but not sexually. So yeah. So basically, I hope that answers your question. So yeah, this is a channel for asexuals. yeah, so going back to what I said, so yeah, so even if you're not having sex, there's a lot of, you know, with a partner, you can be doing other stuff. Obviously, if you're asexual and with a sexual partner, you know, like if you're not having sex, you might be doing other things. Hi, Michael, nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Really good. So it's nice to see you. So yeah, so if you're a romantic person, like I said, you might be kissing or cuddling them, which you wouldn't do with just your friends. If you're an aromantic asexual, someone who lacks romantic attraction and lacks sexual attraction, and you're having a relationship, because some aromantic asexuals do, the 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 relationship you have will be different to a friendship in the sense of, again, mostly the physical aspects of the fact that, you know, you might, like, although you might not be super romantic, you might decide to cuddle in bed, for example, or share a bed, which you wouldn't do with your other friends. So it's like taking your friendship to another level, right? It would be more intimate. Maybe it might just be a cuddle in bed. You might not be into kissing if you've got if you're not romantic. But I know some aromantics that do still kiss their partner. You know, I know some aromantic asexuals that are with sexuals. See, I'm very much not confused, honey. I'm asexual, born asexual. So, thank you, Michael. Thanks for being a moderator. Yes, appreciate that. So, I have to laugh at these people. Oh, dearie me, they got nothing better to do with their lives. So yeah, so what was I saying? So an aromantic asexual person, yeah, that lacks romantic attraction and sexual attraction, their relationship in comparison with friendship, if they decide to have a relationship, because obviously lots of aromantic asexuals don't need to be in a relationship, but if they do, it's usually known as what's called a queer platonic relationship, and it's even deeper than their bestest ever friendships. And an aromantic has really, really deep friendships because they really love all their friends in a very, very deep way. I would say aromantic friendships are probably equivalent to some, like, so some romantic asexuals, right? We wouldn't be so close to our usually close to our friends as an aromantic person would. Some aromantics are so close to their friends, like they really love their friends, but it's not in a romantic way, but they might want to take one of their friends and become more than that with them, and it would be like a really, really deep platonic love they feel, more than their best friends. And like I said, they might want to cuddle in bed, they, you know, stuff like that. So they'll usually be more physical contact, and it's the feelings and the intensity. And from what I know of the aromantics I know, they probably want to message the person a lot more, talk to the person a lot more, think about that person even more than they would do all the rest of their friends. They think and value their rest of their friends really highly in the first place, but you know, they would literally be even more so with them. They'd be more like they might have, you know, like they'll be on their mind, and they'll want to talk to them more, they'll want to share more with them, they'll like want to take their bestest ever friendship and, how can I put it, compound it. So it's like they're seeing them a lot, because it's like you know, it's like the best of ever friendship, but like, I don't know, 10 times more. Do you see what I mean? And it's just like more powerful to them. They've got something between them and the love of their life. Although they love all their friends deeply, they're very close. There's just this one person that really stands out, and there's this kind of like platonic chemistry with them, that they just feel that they really want to be more than friends with this person, that they want to share their life with them. Maybe they want to move in together, share a bed together, share their life with each other, you know, cook and clean together, do housework together, play video games, watch movies together. You know, they may not be like super romantic like the romantics, like with, like, they might not like much kissing, they might just give a little peck on the cheek or something, they might not need to do any kissing at all, but their friendship is deeper, and it's a relationship because they've chosen to have some sort of exclusive tenderness with them that they don't have with their friends, and some sort of exclusivity in terms of emotional relationship bonding with that person, if that makes sense. So they're more exclusively an item than they are with their other friends. You know, there's that exclusivity with it. And I hope that really makes sense, because obviously I'm not an aromantic asexual myself. I can only go by what my knowledge and my experience of feeling what it's like when aromantic people tell me what a queer platonic relationship is like to them, and from obviously people in my book, because there are aromantic asexuals in my book as well. So that's how I can describe it, is how I think it is. But I mean, I only time them out this time. I want to see what they'll say when they get back in a minute before deciding to ban them. Yeah, it's fine. They'll probably leave soon. If they haven't left already. So yeah, so I think, I think it's thank you, Michael, for moderating, by the way. It's nice to have you here. So yeah, it's really important to know that just because someone's an aromantic asexual, don't assume that every aromantic doesn't want to be in a relationship, because there are some that do, right? There's both. Aromantic asexuals are happy on their own forever. They don't want anything to do with the relationship. They're happy to have friends, but they're not bothered about relationship. They don't need it, don't want it, don't have to have it, quite happy without it. And there are other aromantic asexuals that really kind of crave a deep platonic relationship of some sort. Maybe they're not sure they can achieve it, but they can. I know people who have achieved it. So, from people I've known online in Facebook groups and stuff like that, So, basically the difference between a friendship and a relationship is the exclusivity. The feelings are even more deeper between each other. The physicality is more. The wanting to spend more time with that person, have them in their life even more. Maybe like you'll message your friends like once every few days, but like this person you're like messaging every day, or maybe you message your friends every day, but this person you're messaging like 5-6 times a day, because you're like really enthusiastic and wanting to share your life with them and wanting to spend like loads and loads of minutes and time with them, because you realize you're on this planet for a short time and you're so happy to just be talking to this person. Like the conversation is just flowing between you two, and there's this conversational chemistry. I mean, I don't know if you felt that, but I can feel that sometimes when I'm getting on with someone really well, and with me, I feel romance usually, but it's kind of conversational chemistry where it's just flowing backwards and forwards. It's so natural, and then you go off and then you pick up the conversation again like it didn't really end and it was just ongoing. I mean, I've had this with friends too, not just romantic feelings. I've had this with friends too. So like I said, a good relationship is based on best ever, deepest friendship in the first place. So you'll find that the person you want to be in a relationship with, you're going to want to take your friendship to the next level, and you're going to want to be more physical contact with them, usually, them to be in your life more, and you'll make space for them. Like with a friend, right, you don't have to change your life at all for them, usually, do you? Sometimes you might have to compromise, but a lot of the time you won't have to change your life much. Whereas if you have a relationship with someone, you have to change your life somewhat to accommodate them coming into it, right? Because if you're in a relationship, you're going to want to spend more time with them. And that may mean that you have like a date night once a week that you have as a set night, or it might mean that you spend your weekends Skyping, video chatting every weekend, or it might mean that you just have 2 or 3 days a week that you decide which days you want to Skype date with them, or you decide you want to phone with them, or you decide you want to message them loads. It's about more contact with them. It's about fitting them into their lives. Like, are you going to go on trips together? Are you going to out together? Like, you plan that. I mean, you plan that with friends, but you're planning it more regularly. You're planning, you're kind of planning stuff, right? With friends, like, you don't, like you plan to go out with them, but it's like, when you're in a relationship, you'll sort of always be making arrangements for the next time you can see them indefinitely, right? Whereas a friendship, you might meet up with them and you've got no plans when you're actually going to see them again next. But in a relationship, you'd be like having to make plans to regularly see them, to keep the relationship going, the communication alive. Do you see what I mean? You'd be fitting them to life more. So if I've got a friend, I may be like, one of my best female friends, she's not asexual. I saw her last month twice, right? This month I can't really see her because I'm so, I've got an asexual meet. I've got 2 asexual meetups this month at the end of the month. And I'm over my parents because my dad's Father's Day, and then it's my guinea pig's birthday the next day. She's 3, Angel. So I'm spending time there, right? And I don't have a partner, so I don't have a partner to fit into my life in that way. So I haven't made arrangements to see anyone else this month. Like my best female friend, I can't see her till next month, right? Because I'm doing this. But if you have a partner, you have to make time to see them and fit them into your life, even if it's not kind of always convenient at the time, because you have to keep that bond up, that relationship up, that thing going. You have to be able to have in-person time, not just online time. And so there's a greater degree of fitting someone into your life when they're in a relationship with you rather than a friendship. There's a greater degree of planning to do things together, of having goals, ambitions, and dreams together. Whereas in a friendship, you can usually as well accept and tolerate more things. In a relationship, it's in your face more. So if for example, a friend has a bad habit, you might just spend like one day with them. You might say something about the bad habit, you might not. It might be tolerable for you. But if this person's got a bad habit and you're in a relationship with them and you're constantly spending a day or two or more a week with them, and that habit is something that is not comfortable for you, you're going to have to say something about it. So you'll be having a lot more open, honest, frank discussions with that person in a relationship. You'll be more vulnerable. In some ways, you'll have more stress. In some ways, you'll have more worry and anxiety, because don't think a relationship is going to be easy, but you'll have the benefit of hopefully being with that person for the rest of your life if they're the right person with you. You'll have all the benefits of beauty of being in a relationship, of being together in a unit, of being able to grow old together, because your family isn't going to be around forever. Some of your friends will pair off and get into relationships. So you do have to be thinking of yourself as well about, a potential relationship. If that's what you want, a relationship, you have to be thinking friends are good and you still need to keep all your friends. I'm never, ever going to lose my friends. I got two best guy asexual friends. I'm not going to lose them because I end up in a relationship with someone. But, you have to understand that, I understand that my two best asexual guy friends, they will end up in a relationship with someone. They will have less time for me in the future. It's just a fact, I know. So I have to be thinking of myself as well. Like, that if I want a relationship, I need to pick a good guy for me that I want to spend the rest of my life with and potentially grow old with, whether I live with him or not, because I'm really not really into living with someone. But obviously that is a huge difference again between friendship and relationship, right? It's that some people will live where they're friends, right? So, but for a lot of people, they won't live with their friends in the same room with them, for example, whereas you might with a relationship. Usually most people live in the same room, they'll be in the same bed with them, they'll be in close proximity, they'll be living day in, day out with them, which is very different to a friendship where you might see them or speak to them several times a week. You're not actually living each other's faces and spaces, if you know what I mean. So you're taking your friendship and building like a completely different, more dynamic on top of it. But it's only if you've got a really strong foundation of friendship in the first place that's going to last, because there are going to be times when you're tested. Your patience will be tested, your life will be tested, you'll have to compromise sometimes on things. You'll have to face fears, anxieties, and worries. You'll have to be very vulnerable, very open, more so than in a friendship with the person. The person might be seeing you naked, for example, or not in my case. You're going to have to deal with a lot of things that come up. Like if you personally suffer depression or anxiety sometimes, that's not going to stop just because you get into a relationship with someone. But you shouldn't rob yourself of the chance of getting into a relationship just because you've got some anxiety and depression. That person has got to accept those things about you, but you need to be changing, working on it. You can't just say, I'm a really depressed person, I'm not going to get anyone and I'm not going to do anything about it, because then you're not healthy for someone else, right? So long as you're working on your anxiety, working on your depression, trying to improve yourself, then that's what makes for a good relationship, because a person can see you're trying to change and better your life, but they have to see you at your worst as well. In a relationship, someone will see you at your worst, not just your best. Whereas a friendship, sometimes in a friendship, people will see you more at your best than they do at your worst, because you're concealing that side of you. You're at home, excuse me, a lot more. But if you decide to live with a person, they'll see sometimes you're anxious, they'll see sometimes you're depressed, they'll see sometimes if you've got mental health problems, they'll see you at your worst, because you will be more in their face, in their space, and you'll be more with them for a longer period of time. You can't sustain hiding that. You shouldn't be hiding that anyway, because if a person can't deal with your mental health problems or be good about it or help you with it, or you're no good for them because you're not working on yourself, then better you find out sooner rather than later, So a friend can accept more things about you, in the sense of they can have, I guess the standards can be different for a friendship than what they can for a relationship. A relationship, usually, you would have higher standards for even more, because you'd be more intimate with that person. They'll be more in your face and space. They'll be more in your life. And so your standards will raise with a relationship. Your standards will raise more and your expectations will naturally raise more. And it's a good idea if you start talking about your expectations before you get into a relationship, like what you expect from each other, what your standards are, what your boundaries are, And it's good if you can talk around that. Obviously, sometimes you don't know until I actually get into a relationship what's good and bad for you in every single way. Like if I get into a relationship with someone, right, there's lots of things physically I don't want to do, but they might change a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to have sex with them, but there might be a few things that change. I might become a little bit more intimate with them as I get to know them, as I'm more comfortable with them, right? But at the beginning, I'm not going to do that because I'm not just going to give myself everything about myself to a person like that because they don't deserve it when I don't know, when I'm getting to know them. And going from a friendship to relationship can be very different. A friend, like I said, could show you certain sides of them and you're just seeing that side. And then when you get into a relationship, even if you've known them a long time, it can still be very different, the dynamic. And some people can change. And some people are not being true to who they are anyway. So you do have to be aware of that. I had a friend who's not asexual and I knew him for about 11 months and he turned on me, right? We were really, really, really good friends. And he started having this, I knew he had mental health problems, right? But I'd always got on well with him, never had an actual issue with him, with me, right? So I accepted he had mental health problems and I was still friends with him. We still liked each other. We went for walks, we chatted and sat down on bench together, chatted, got on really well. And he started having these outbursts in a pub at the bar staff, getting angry about the way his coffee was made, which was hard for me to deal with because I hadn't seen him like that before. Even though I knew that he had some mental health problems, he hadn't done that in front of me. But then he started getting nasty in private message and tried to be controlling over me because he was being controlling over his girlfriend. And I said something to him and he didn't like it. And then he started being controlling over me. And he was being very nasty in private messages. So I just stopped the friendship. I just cut him loose. I had to. And sometimes you do have to do that. If you find out that person who you were really, really good friends with turns out to be someone that's not actually even likable because they're being nasty or controlling to you, you have to cut them loose. So you have to understand there is a way out always. So even if someone starts off as your bestest, closest friend, there are cases where a person who, even though they're your bestest friend, you're really close to them, might not be showing you the whole sides to their personality, even as a best close friend, because you don't really truly know someone for a very long time. And some people that are sadly manipulative or controlling, where they mean to be or not, sometimes those people hide that for a very, very, very long time. I mean, I know someone, I think, who's married for 3 years before their partner became abusive and controlling. So you have to understand that there are a few people out there that you could end up being friends with. And just because I'm saying on this live stream now, the bestest relationships are born on friendship, I'm saying that in general, that's the best foundation. I'm not saying it's going to work out every time or be great for you or be perfect or sustainable if things decide and pan out that they're not working for you. Because if the person becomes abusive or they make you lower your standards or they push your boundaries in ways you don't want them to in a relationship, you have to cut them loose. So yes, you probably will lose the friendship then. That is a thing you do risk. Going from friendship to a relationship, you can lose the friendship. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? If you're really good friends with the person and you suggest a relationship with them and you don't actually have a relationship with them because it's not going to work, then they should still be friends with you if they like you, right? You can get into a relationship and it doesn't work. Sometimes you might still be friends with them. But you might get into a relationship and realize that you can't stand each other and the friendship that you once had has gone because it's like, I don't actually like this person. Why did I get with them in the first place? And then you probably will cut off from them because you'll have to emotionally cut off from them. Maybe it was just for a time or for a long period or forever, right? So you do risk that. I'm not going to sit here sugarcoating it, saying there's no risk involved to making a friend become in a relationship with you. Like it's more of a risk in a way than actually get into a relationship with someone quicker. Maybe that's why, in part, being in a relationship quickly with someone is more favourable in the sense that you don't lose a friendship that you've held dearly for years. There's not really a chance of that because you don't know the person, so they're not really your friend in the first place. Having said that, you can still develop a very strong emotional bond and connection with someone you haven't known for very long. You can still feel like they're your really good friend if you just click with them and you get on so well with them. And then you kind of lose that quickly as you gained it, because without it being there in the first place and knowing everything else about them, it's not usually sustainable if you find out they've got ghosts in their closet, if it were. Like, for example, I've got friends, that have mental health problems. I know that certain mental health problems, I could probably be with someone in a relationship if they got some mental health problems, certain ones. Other ones, wouldn't be suitable for me because they wouldn't be suitable for the way I am, my lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you can deal with mental health problems as in a friendship, but when it gets into a relationship, it can become too much or too difficult for you, depending on what it is. And that's the same goes for anyone who wanted to be in a relationship with me. You know, like I do have relationship anxiety. I've mentioned it before on this channel. So a person who gets into a relationship with me, I usually mention that to them because it does make life difficult for me and them in the sense that I have anxiety. And, you know, I need a person that's okay with that and can handle that, right? And if a person can't, then that's fine. They're happy, you know, I'm happy for them not to be with me. You know, I work on myself constantly. I try and improve myself. When I actually get into a relationship, if it was good for me, usually my anxiety goes down. But obviously, if it turns out bad for me, then it's not good. It just makes my anxiety worse for the next person that comes along. So that's why it's good to take time out from a relationship and not rush into anything. And, you know, it's good to have a lot of friends so that you can make an informed choice and decision later on if you want to be in a relationship with them and if any of them want to be in a relationship with you. So I hope this video has been useful, helpful, insightful in some way. And if it has, please click the thumbs up button. I'd really, 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 really appreciate that. If you've got any questions, comments in the meantime, please, you know, like leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you think of this video. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Thank you, Michael, so much for being a great moderator tonight. I really appreciate you being here. If anyone's watching, they haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified every time I go live like now or post a new video. Thanks to Michael. Night to everyone else. Lots of love, everyone. And don't forget to embrace your quirky and each other's. And I'll see you all on the next live stream or the next video. Bye. Take care. Bye, Michael. Nice to see you.